Hello and welcome back to Tony Northeastern, and a very big welcome to 2018. Hopefully a start of big things on the layout, but let's go back to the little small things. Now that the pump house is finished, I'm concentrating on making some small walls. Made them out of 3mm ply. I've covered them in Metcalf brick. They're roughly about 5 foot tall, so 20mm is just about 5 foot. Made a couple of gates as well. So these brick walls here are going to go round the gasometer and the pump house. Keep it enclosed. I've weathered it slightly, just mainly along the bottom edge. And that little figure there is just to give you an idea of how tall the wall is. Those gates I've made out of bits of bits of the kit that was left over from the pump house. I think all these is wooden planking, so I've just trimmed them and made the gates out of that. Yeah, I've added a notice board and a few other bits and pieces. Let's put them on the layout. Okay, as you can see, I have placed everything in situ, and I've drawn round the gas meter, the pump house and the brick walls, so I know roughly where to put all the green scenics. And it's looking pretty promising at the moment. It's a lot of effort just for a tiny area, but that's the way it is. Right, so we'll remove all the objects now. So I can remove them. Okay, now we're left blank canvas again. As you've probably noticed, I've already pre-drilled some holes there to take the trees. I'm going to put a few trees there, and I've drilled some holes here as well to put some trees in there. First thing to do is put some PVA solution in here. Just brush it around. I always put plenty on just to make sure the scenics actually get hold. Right. Start off with a little bit of blended turf. I'm just going to sprinkle it on using my fingers, just to get it in there. Do apologise for the light, because it's pretty cramped space I'm working in. Seems to be a lot of effort for something that's hardly ever going to be seen, but now and again you might get a glimpse of it on the videos. Add a little bit of 50% water and 50% PVA, just to put a few splodges in a few places. All this does, it just spreads the PVA around a bit more. As you can see it happening already. What I'm going to do now is just use a little bit of scatter, which has got a bit of everything in it, a bit of green. I normally use this for bushes. I just normally roll up some of that green foliage that you use for bushes and dip it in here, and it gives you the leaves. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this around. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add a few of those cheap trees. Right, as you can see, I've added the PVA to the base of the tree, and I've put a little bit of scatter on there, so when that goes in, to the hole. Okay, that's gone in there nicely. As you can see, once that goes into the hole, the scatter already on the PVA disguises the PVA, so you don't end up with a shiny blob on the end when it dries out. I've done the same again, look, so it's like the moss grows up the tree, and then just place that. I've had to trim these trees a little bit, so any little bits that are left off, stick Oh, it's not too bad. That's sort of filled in that little space. As you can see right the way down there, it's sort of, yeah, that's filled in that little space nicely. Right, so now I can glue in the first brick wall. That's it. No. That's it, that's taken shape. Looking good. Okay, that's the next brick wall in. Right, so the next thing I want to do is repaint this little bit here with a bit of brown, and then as it's drying, add some stone. So I'm just putting a bit of earth wash in there now, just painting up to the lines. Right, inside this paint is a 50-50 PVA solution. Okay, as you can see, I've just started to run some glue along the brick wall edge there, so I can put some green scenics along that edge, like weeds. See, what I'm doing is I'm actually putting the glue on one side of this glue spatula, so it doesn't go up the wall, so it just goes along the base of the wall. And I'm just going to put a little bit along the edge there where the pump house is going to go, so you got a little bit of, just about make out the pencil lines. And this is the coarse turf I'm going to use to put around the edges. Making sure your spatula's free from glue, just brush it into place and just push it down. Okay, while I'm waiting for the PVA to dry in a few places, I'm just going to wash the top edge of the stone walling, just to get rid of that plywood look on the top. All it is a very, very wishy-washy grey with a bit of yellow in it. And it doesn't matter, just run a little bit along the edge there, on the bottom, and then just wipe it off, like so. And that just finishes the wall off nicely. As you can see, I've still got that bit of greenery to do there. So I shall do that the same as I did the other bit with the trees in. Plenty of PVA, long green leaves, and I'll probably put 2 or 3 trees in there as well. So I shall do that and then see where we are. Right, the trees have been added to that little area, and as you can see, the transformation is slowly taking place. So the last thing to do now is to put the buildings in place, and it won't be long before I'll be ballasting the tracks. So close to finishing this little area now. Right, let's put the buildings in place. See, the gasometer totally blocks out all the trees along that area, doesn't it? Okay, right, now the pump house. Right, as you see, it's all there. Still a few things left to do. There's a lamppost I've got to fit in there. The hole is there. I'm hoping it still lines up with the hole underneath. Yep, it does. So that's good. And there's still a little bit of room at the back of the building there to maybe put another building. It's not a very big space. It's only about 3 inches square. But you know, I could put another little building in there. So that's about it really. I've still got to wire up the LED that's inside the hut, and behind that bus there there's going to be another lamp post just about there, and there's another lamp post which is going to sit just about there on that pavement. The hole's there ready for it, so when the lamppost goes on there it'll light up that little corner there. This is the view from the other side, and I think that's a lot better than what it was a couple of months ago. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've been watching. I've certainly enjoyed finishing off that little area. So I think this is all from me for now. Till next time. So thanks for watching now. Bye.